Welcome to the Home Automation Training video. Hi, I'm Scott Lindros from Ademco's Technical Support Group. I recommend that you have your basic kit in front of you while viewing this tape. However, if you have not purchased a kit yet, this video will serve as a good installation primer. Your Ademco Home Automation Training Kit comes complete with instruction manuals, a planning and configuration guide, self-stick device labels, and an end-user quick reference guide. It also contains an introduction tape and 2 system tapes A and B. The system consists of 3 major components: the Personal Home Director, or PhD, the Room Director, or RD, and a security bridge. The PhD is the main component, or the brains of the system. It not only controls selected lights and appliances in the home, but is also a full-featured telephone, answering machine, intercom system, and security system controller. The Ademco Home Automation System also has built-in digital voice menus that actually talk you through the options for each function key. This means no flashing lights or scrolling displays to read. Just press any function key, listen to the help menu, and choose your option. So simple a child can do it.
When reading for the day, press 1. When returning, press 2. To check in, press 3. To set check-in off, press 4.
The Room Director is an intercom station and an extension of the PhD. What I mean is, except for system programming and telephone functions, the RD can perform all system functions. You can use up to 15 RDs in the system, each designated a unique zone number, 3 through 17. The PhD is always Zone 2. There is no Zone 1. Each RD and the PhD communicate with each other over the existing telephone lines in the home. This gives the user full control of the home automation system, and it can even be controlled from any outside touch-tone phone. The security bridge is what allows the PhD and the Ademco 4140 XMP to communicate with each other. Data is passed between the PhD and the XMP over existing telephone lines in the home. This gives the user full control of the security system from the PhD and RDs. Now that we've looked at the basic components of the Ademco Home Automation System, let's discuss how the system interfaces and controls lights and appliances in the home. The system uses power line carrier signal technology, an industry standard in home automation. Various devices called power line control components, or PCC, are used to control selected lights and appliances throughout the home. PCCs are broken down into 2 major categories: transmitters and receivers. Transmitters send binary signals to receivers over the home's existing AC wiring to turn selected lights and appliances on or off, either through a manually initiated command or at a pre-programmed time. These binary signals are made up of a start code, which gets the receiver's attention, followed by a letter code, A through P, followed by a number code, 1 through 16. These unique letter and number codes eliminate false activation of modules with different codes. After a brief pause, another start code and letter code are sent, followed by the command code. This entire binary string is repeated twice over 47 cycles of a normal 60-cycle AC sine wave. This is equivalent to about 0.8 of a second. This type of technology is known as the X10 protocol. The PhD is the main transmitter in the Ademco Home Automation System. Lights and appliances are automatically controlled according to pre-programmed times established during the initial setup of the system or manually at any time. There are also other PCC transmitters available that can be used in conjunction with the PhD. For example, in areas where no RD is desired. Each PCC transmitter is assigned a unique letter and number code that corresponds to the letter and number code of the receiver that it will control. In the case of the PhD, these unique codes are automatically assigned during the initial system setup, which we will discuss later on. Other types of PCC transmitters are outlined in the technical manual accompanying this video in this section called transmitters. Receivers are also given unique letter and number codes to match those assigned by the PhD or to match those assigned to other PCC transmitters. Receivers are always listening for a start code sent by the PhD or other PCC transmitters. When a start code is heard, the receiver waits to see if the letter and number code matches its own. If it does match, the receiver will carry out the command. If not, the command will be ignored. There are several types of PCC receivers available to control lights and appliances in the home. They are also listed in the technical manual accompanying this video in this section called Receivers. This technical manual is an invaluable tool in planning out your home automation jobs. It is published by a company called Advanced Control Technologies, or ACT. ACT manufactures power line control components that use the X10 protocol. They are part of a high-quality product line used in many applications ranging from small residential to large industrial and require installation by a licensed electrician. However, there are other types of modules available that do not require installation by a licensed electrician. These are what are known as plug-and-play modules, manufactured by X10 primarily for the do-it-yourselfer, for use with off-the-shelf X10 controllers. These devices simply plug into existing outlets in the home to control selected lights and appliances. These modules can be found at any Radio Shack, Sears, and various other similar stores in your area. If you desire quick and easy installations, use plug-and-play type modules wherever possible. For larger systems, or in applications where quality is the key, or special applications are needed, use the ACT modules. In any event, we recommend that you become familiar with the contents of this manual. Now that you're familiar with the components of the Ademco home automation system and the X10 protocol, let's assemble each component and see how they work together. First, let's look at the PhD. Connect the telephone handset, then the optional temperature sensor, and the DC power pack to the rear panel. But don't plug the power pack into AC yet. Next, open the battery compartment and install the 9-volt alkaline battery and the 12-volt 1.2 amp-hour standby battery. The system will not operate without the 9-volt alkaline battery. Its purpose is to maintain memory for up to a year in the event of a prolonged loss of power. The backup battery is optional but highly recommended. Without it, if AC is lost, all system functions will immediately cease in order to maintain program memory. Now let's look at the RD. Plug the optional temperature sensor, the modular phone cord, and the DC power pack to the back of the RD. You can plug these in at this time if you wish. Next, install an optional 9-volt alkaline backup battery. Unlike the PhD, the RD's 9-volt battery is for backup only in the event of AC loss. The last component is the security bridge. A modular cord is provided to connect the bridge to the 4140 XMP control via 6 flying leads. Connect the yellow to positive auxiliary power on terminal 6, blue to negative on terminal 7, white to console data in on terminal 8, black to console data out on terminal 9, red to handset ring side on terminal 26, and green to handset tip side on terminal 27. The bridge can be placed right inside the XMP's cabinet or mounted alongside. Okay, now that we've gone over the X10 protocol and basic home automation programming, let's take a look at a typical layout. Here we have a house with 3 bedrooms, dining room, living room, kitchen, den, bathroom, and utility room. The first step in laying out this job is to fill out the planning guide. At the end of the installation, this guide will be left with the homeowner so they have a record of the job and so they can make any future changes. Looking at the guide that came with this tape, you can see that I assigned each room to a zone number, starting with the kitchen and the PhD as Zone 2. From here I determined which zones have room directors and which room directors have temperature sensors. Later on when you do programming, you will program in which zones belong to which thermostat area. At this point, you should determine which power line control devices you're going to install. I would recommend that you get familiar with the ACT parts system that is in the technical reference manual. The majority of the devices used will be for lighting control throughout the inside and outside of the home. The way that I've set this up is using ACT SG-RS120 receiver switches to replace existing wall switches to control the ceiling lights in each room except for the dining room. Then in the kitchen, I also put an additional switch to control exterior floodlights and an appliance module, SG-AM486, for a coffee maker. In the living room, I put an extra switch to control the front outside entry light and an X10 lamp module, SGLM465, to control a separate table lamp. These X10 modules are the plug-and-play type modules. They just get plugged into the wall outlet, and then you plug the device into it. If you didn't want to use these modules, you could instead use ACT receiver receptacles, SGRR120s. But if you had an application where the end user might want to move the lamp or appliance, you would use the X10 module. Now back to the installation. In the dining room, I did things a little differently. In order to be able to dim the light, I selected a receiver dimmer, SGRD110, to be mounted at the fixture with the transmitter SGTB100 base and SGTK020 keypad to replace the wall switch. All three of the bedrooms and the den have receiver switches and lamp modules to control lamps. The only difference was I added an appliance module to control the stereo in the den. The next area we need to go over is heating and cooling control. The Ademco home automation system can control up to 4 separate heating and cooling zones. To do this, you need a thermostat kit for each heating and cooling zone to be controlled. This kit consists of 1 universal module, 1 temperature sensor, 12 feet of thermostat wire, and wire nuts. The universal module is wired in series with a 24-volt line to the thermostat. Please refer to page 3-14 in your Read Me First manual. When the temperature gets below or above the program temperature setting, the PhD transmits either an on or off signal to the universal module to either connect or disconnect power to the thermostat for that zone. When the desired temperature is reached, another signal is sent to turn the universal module off or on again. When thermostat kits are used, the PhD monitors all RDs that have optional temperature sensors installed for a whole house average temperature. There is a user option to temporarily set one zone to have temperature priority for a program length of time. This, however, is at the expense of the other zones, in that the PhD monitors temperature in the priority zone only. Accompanying this videotape is a booklet called Application Notes. These application notes offer various tips and suggestions for different applications. One important application tip concerns thermostat control in areas that experience exceptionally cold or freezing temperatures. This involves either the addition of a backup thermostat where both heating and cooling are controlled, or the wiring of the universal module in parallel rather than in series, where heating only is controlled. Please review these notes before installing a thermostat kit. Ademco will keep these application notes updated as we gather more tips on making your job easier. Of course, if you have any ideas or tips on how a certain application can be made easier or more efficient, or if you devise a new application, please feel free to send it to our technical support department. Before you start programming the system, remember these 4 steps. First, read the manuals. The Read Me First manual will give you a step-by-step look at the components and available options. The sections include getting ready, quick start, first-time setup, and troubleshooting. The Reconfiguring manual tells you everything you need to know about adding, changing, and deleting various system functions. It also has a utilities section and an invaluable quick key guide that outlines all possible program functions. The Living With manual has a component overview for the end user and also explains every possible user function with step-by-step instructions for each. Now we get to the second step. Plan your configuration. Discuss the requirements of the installation with your customer. Then fill out the planning and configuration guide. I want to emphasize the importance of this step because it organizes and speeds up the installation process. Third, refer to the manuals. During system programming, refer to the manuals when told to do so. The PhD talks you through each program step and refers you to various sections in the manual concerning each step. Before you make an entry, read the sections to get an understanding of the specific option you're about to program. Fourth, follow the PhD's instructions in the order given. Do not attempt to jump ahead. Each step is in a logical sequence. If you jump ahead, you might overlook an important step. There are 3 sets of keys on the PhD. Let's go over them. The alphabet keys are used to enter names, days of the week, months of the year, and device letter codes. The keys for setting date, time, and sunrise, sunset, and the enter key are also located on the alphabet keypad. The control keys are used for entering dates, times, phone numbers, and device number codes. This keypad is also used for various system functions such as dialing the phone, intercom, answering machine, temperature control, light and appliance control, and security functions. The telephone function keys are used to store names and phone numbers in the phone directory, as well as various telephone functions such as hold, mute, flash, line, hands-free, and robodial. Okay, let's plug in the power pack and listen to your system come alive.
Hello, and welcome to the world of Samantha.
To adjust the volume, use the control wheel located on the left side of the PhD. If you need to adjust the voice speed, press the flash key. The home automation system will prompt you to enter the current date and time.
Hello, to listen to the introduction tape, press enter. For option menu, press 0.
This tape is 23 minutes long. If you haven't listened to it yet, you should listen now. If you don't want to, just press 0 to bypass the introduction tape. At this point, you should select the setup mode. Then press 0 for menu. There are 2 setup modes to choose from. The first is Quick Start. For this, you would press 2, which loads a predefined set of defaults which are outlined on pages 2-1 through 2-7 of your README First manual. Using Quick Start will get a basic system up and running in a matter of minutes. But we don't really recommend you use the Quick Start procedure for actual installations. The second setup mode is First Time Setup. To initiate this mode, just press 3. This is the mode that you would use for actual installations because it gives you full flexibility over system parameters. A complete overview of First Time Setup starts on page 3-1 of your README First manual. The PhD will ask a series of questions concerning the configuration of the installation. This is where a completely filled out configuration guide comes in handy. Questions you'll be asked are concerning thermostat control, how many zones will be used, what types of zones will they be and will they include a room director, how many light and appliance modules will be installed in each zone. As each device is programmed, the PhD will automatically assign a letter and number code. Use the self-stick labels to record the codes for each device as you go along. You will also be asked to record a zone menu, and for each zone a device menu. Up to 8 devices can be assigned for each zone for a total of 128. The user will be able to access these menus later on if needed. After you have finished answering all the questions, you can set up your light and appliance modules for their respective letter and number codes and physically install them in each zone along with the room director. A Modular T Adapter is provided with each RD. This allows the RD and an existing telephone to share the phone jack. Once the RDs are in place, they must be designated a zone. To do this, simply press the room director's ID key, followed by the zone number, 03 through 17, followed by the ID key again. A voice message will verify what you've just programmed. There may come a time when your customer will ask you to add, delete, or in some way change the initial setup of their system. This can be due to additions to the home, the addition or deletion of one or more controlled lights or appliances in the home, or a change in a timed event. Refer to the Quick Key Guide in the back of your reconfiguring manual. This is a complete list of all possible programming options. They include adding functions, changing functions, deleting functions, timed events, and utilities. To re-enter the program mode, press the tone, hold, and mute keys at the same time. This will get you into the Change Active Setup mode. Once in this mode, you can do any of the functions listed in the Quick Key Guide. As you can see, each function is divided into sections 1 through 5, and each section is divided into subsections 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and etc. The PhD will talk you through each section with a help menu for each function.
Change active settings menu. To add a function, press 1. To change a function, press 2. To delete a function, press 3. For timed and special events, press 4. For mutual.
However, if you follow the guide, you can choose the desired function and press the number of the section and subsection. For example, if you wanted to delete an RD, you would simply press 3 for the delete function, then 1 to delete an RD. That's it. To exit the program mode, press the cancel key. After your final checkout of the system, it's time to show the end user what to do. There are many functions available to the end user. However, day-to-day operation may include only a few which will become second nature. Remember, all functions have a built-in voice help menu that gives you all possible options for each. You and the end user do not have to memorize each and every function. All user functions are outlined step by step in the Living With manual starting on page 2-1. You simply have to know a few simple things, keeping the big picture in mind. For example, what home automation zones have been designated and what devices are in each zone. Remember, the user can access the zone and device menus you recorded during initial setup. So to that end, let's review some basic items. First, explain the difference between home automation zones and security zones. A home automation zone is simply an area or room of the home that has been given a zone number 02 through 17. The PhD is preset as Zone 2 and cannot be changed. RDs can be programmed as zones 03 through 17. A security zone is a point of protection in the home, such as a door, window, or motion detector. There can be one or several security zones within any given home automation zone, or there could be none. For simplicity's sake, you could even assign all security zones to one dedicated home automation zone. Second, explain here and there. The concept of here and there in the Ademco home automation environment is simple. Here is whatever zone you are in when you want to perform a function. For example, if you are in Zone 2 and want to turn off a light in Zone 2, the light is here. To turn this light off, press here, plus the device number 1 through 8, followed by off. However, if you wanted to turn off a light that was in Zone 4, you would press there, plus 4 for Zone 4, plus the device number 1 through 8, followed by off. Third, macro functions. A macro is simply many steps or functions that are combined, which can be performed by pressing only a couple of keys instead of a whole series of keystrokes. Ademco's home automation system has a variety of macros available to the end user and are broken down into several categories, which include home away, good morning, good night, hello, goodbye, vacation, and express sequences. Up to 50 express macros can be made up by the user at any time to suit his or her personal needs. Each macro can be programmed to arm or disarm the security system, turn selected lights and appliances on or off, turn the answering machine on or off, and even set a desired temperature. These macros are fully explained in section 2.3 in your reconfiguring manual. Express sequences are explained fully starting on page 2-68 in the Living With manual. In closing, I'd like to reiterate the importance of reading the manuals. But all the reading in the world is no substitute for hands-on experience. We strongly recommend that you set up and program a system on your test bench before you do an actual installation. Once you get the feel of the system, you'll see how easy it really is. So good luck and thanks for your continued support.